All right. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully the mic is not too loud for you. We're back at it. Sorry for not being on the last few days. It's been kind of a crazy week here, last week or so, but we are back at it and want to tell you about something cool that we are going to be starting to do here. Well, today's our first day of it. First day back, I should say. And when I say back, I mean first day back for our May We Thank You tour in person. I'm so excited about it. And what's really cool about our May We Thank You tour this year, besides the fact that it is in person, uh, we also have a pretty consistent schedule where we are going to be out every Tuesday and every Thursday through the month of May. So you can count on it Tuesdays and Thursdays, even with the exception of the 31st, just so you know. But what's also really great is you have the chance to get this shirt, right? Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Maybe I need to bring that back out here so you can see it all the way through. So there you go. You get this shirt. And this is when you make a donation to our American Heroes. You can see it for yourself. What does this mean? Well, this means when you come to American Legions, Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're going to be able to make a donation to the Legion. It can be $5, can be $10. We're asking for 20 if possible. And you then get this shirt in exchange. And the money that's raised at the Legion that you pick your shirt up at, well, it stays there. So that's a cool thing. Tonight, American Legion, Post 105. That is where we're going to be 4 until 6. And what's really cool is you also have the chance for really great taco night, actually. Taco bar. It's this back. So Roger's letting me know here. I just want to make sure I say this right. Taco night is back at the 105. The Suns are open for a great turnout. You also have the return of the wet burrito, which is in a red sauce, which is awesome. The burrito itself is filled with refried beans, Spanish rice, ground beef smothered in red sauce, and shredded cheese. You can add lettuce and onion and salsa yourself if you'd like. They have hard shell or soft shell tacos, nachos. They've got a taco bowl. The bowl is a deep fried taco shell filled with beef, lettuce, and cheese. So it sounds delicious. All right. So that said, a conversation here today with the Facebook and social question is asking you, name the teacher that had the most impact or most significant impact in your life. That's what I want to know here today. And we did have some really great responses here that you should know about. Everything from principals to home economics teachers. All right, I had to go back to the beginning. Chris says Miss Mac. No, I don't think she was Mary, because you know the song Miss Mary, Mac. All right, you get it. We also had some responses. Paul Schlosser, 7th and 8th grade English teacher in Burbank, Illinois. That's according to Jan. Tony says, so many to choose from. I have to go with Mr. Dickinson because he took me to many. There we go. He took me to many FFA leadership events. I think I read that wrong originally on the air. The skills I learned there have served me well on the church council, farm bureau, and now being the chairman of the town board. Honorable mention goes to Mr. Colstead for, quote, make it look like you planned it that way, which is the best advice you can give for anybody who is doing any kind of woodworking or really building of anything. Oh yeah, I totally planned it that way. Look how it works this way. And then Mrs. Dembski, who taught him the wonderful skill set of quoting my sources. Yes, you must always, quote your sources. It is tradition, as she would always say in class. I had both of those teachers as well. It was pretty funny to see Tony make that comment. Caleb says, my mom. Chris says, brother John Habgen, junior and senior year. Kimmy says, Mrs. Henderson, 6th grade in Hartford. Jill, Mr. Johnson, when I went to school at Johnson School on the corner of Territorial and Benton Harbor, or in Benton Center, I should say. The school has been gone now for years, but really there were many teachers that were great ones. Lynn says, Mr. McErney, my 7th grade history teacher. I loved it ever since. Mike made a comment who says, Ed Irving introduced me to electricity in science class, Coloma Middle School. How cool. And that was something where Paula joined the conversation, says, oh, who could forget him, Mike? Very cool. Shaylin, Mr. or Mrs. Wagger, my ag teacher, when I went to the tech center, helped me find what I was passionate about. And that's what it's all about. Good morning, Sue. We have, Tamara, who says, Mr. Bill Kruk, MLHS, and not only was he an amazing history teacher who taught us to love the past, but he was the one person there who treated everyone the same and was more like a big brother or a favorite uncle. He truly cared for his students and still does. That is pretty amazing. And then Ashley says, Mrs. Marilyn Crowder, who taught me letters in kindergarten and creative writing through middle school, Grace Lutheran in St. Joseph. That's a great answer too. And then we did get a phone call here a little bit earlier too, talking about teachers that made an impact. And it's not just a teacher. It's also, like I said earlier, principals. And this is what Paula St. Joe had to say.
I'll tell you, we had the best principal when I went to school. I went to Coloma High School, and the principal that we had was Mr. Wheeler. And he was just the nicest guy. He always took time to talk to you, whether it was personal or he was just like a people's person, you know. And later on, when I grew up, moved to St. Joe, I seen him one day and I said, oh my gosh, Mr. Wheeler. And his friends died laughing. They were like, oh, that must have been one of your students. I still call him Mr. Wheeler all the way up until he passed away.
Have you seen him other places or seen him, in situations where like, oh my gosh, he goes this, he enjoys that, in personal settings?
It was like at the Venetian one year. We were walking, it was kind of late, and there was just kind of like these rowdier older people behind us, and I heard his voice. He had just such a unmistakable voice, and it was dark out. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that sounds like my principal, Mr. Wheeler. And again, the people that he was with started chuckling and, got to catch up with him for a little bit, and still the same nice guy. It was crazy how he hadn't changed like 30 some years later.
Something else that doesn't change, off of that conversation, which is really funny, is thinking about the fact that we never call our teachers by their first names, even post-graduation. I mean, maybe some people do, because the teachers are like, oh, call me by my first name. You're not my student anymore. But so many times it's always like, oh, Mr. Mac or Mr. Tron. And Mr. Tron was a great one too, in that seeing him in a personal setting where I was working at a radio station in West Central Wisconsin, and the station, we were part of a country music festival, Country Jam USA, and I got to see Mr. Tron enjoying himself. He had a full insulated mug of a beverage, and it was awesome. And Mr. Tron, one of my favorite teachers growing up too, who was also a huge fan of Elvis, I might add. So every time I hear Elvis, I always think about Mr. Tron, Mark Tron, great guy. Sue has a great answer. Mine would be Mr. Mucha, 10th grade math. He was so kind and non-judgmental when I got pregnant at 16 years old. He always let us get extra credit. I miss him. Unfortunately, he passed away 2016, 2017. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. That is not easy. We actually had this conversation stem from my sister, who is working as a teacher's aide at our old elementary school and middle school and high school. She sent me a picture yesterday of one of our favorite teachers, Miss Thorson. Mona was what her name was. And she was our art teacher, and she was absolutely amazing. But she too passed away, I want to say like 10 years ago. It's been a little bit. But my sister found, as a teacher's aide, working there, some of the old beads and other, art items that we used when we were at school there, and had her handwriting on there. And she just kind of reminisced about it, because Miss Thorson always treated my sister and myself, like we were, family, like we were her kids. It was amazing. She was very special. Now, she did not treat every student like that. But she was amazing. She really was great. So, all right. That wraps up the conversation here today. I appreciate you joining me. And if you have any other teachers that you can think of that deserve a special shout out because of the significance they played in your life, please do. I've got way too many to count, from Mrs. Freitag to Mrs. Newman, Miss Anderson, Mr. Tron, Jack Curtis, Mrs. Westrate, Mrs. Hostak, Mr. Winchester. Bruce is one of a kind, man. He's a great guy. So I'm very lucky. Yeah, Mr. Kolstead, Mr. Freilich. I've had a lot of great teachers in my life that played a significant role, who taught me something that I still use every single day. So to the teachers out there, thank you for what you do. I know it's National Teacher Appreciation Day and Teacher Appreciation Week, but you deserve the gratitude all year, even in the summertime. Sophia's speech. Miss P really put in the work to get good. See? Well, that's awesome. That's amazing. It's amazing people. And in order to be a teacher, you have to have an amazing heart and an amazing amount of patience. So we appreciate all of you that decide to take that on as a teacher role. And hopefully you get recognized today by some other folks that are in your life and not just us talking. So, all right, y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow.